Hello and welcome to this edition of Bayou Time. I'm your host, Keith Weisheit, licensed clinical social worker. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. And you know, we're always here working on different things where there's a different focus for people and what they do in their jobs. And it's always important for us to find out, especially when we have some good things happening, and how we transition that to taking care of each other. We welcome into the program Lieutenant Travis Theriot. Travis, welcome back to the program.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. Now look, we can't stress enough the good news that we found out in a call that you got this morning. And so just in a few seconds, I just kind of want you to tell us how it felt to find out that we finally were able to apprehend this Devontae Theriot.
Hard to put into words, but I guess the relieved.
Yeah.
You know, just knowing that he's finally off the streets and we can start moving forward to truly closing everything out and bringing closure to the family.
Yeah, and again, that's a really big thing. It's a case that gets closed, that we knew what had happened. He was on the run since March, and so it's been quite a while, and you talked about all the complimentary work by all of the different organizations, and again, we thank Gulfport, Mississippi for handling things the way that they did and communicating that back to us, and him coming here to face the justice that he deserves and that the family deserves.
That's correct.
And so as we think about that in these days where we have a hurricane we're expected to deal with, let's talk a little bit about some of the plans that you guys have over with HPD and with some of the other law enforcement about getting ready.
So you know, first thing we do whenever we start planning is, you know, communicating with our personnel, and pretty much all leaves canceled, and our guys now have to take care of their families to prepare for the storm.
Right.
So we can prepare to take care of our citizens of the parish. So, you know, we're in close communication with our guys, updating them as we go through different phases leading up to their response to the storm, and assigning them to do specific duties.
Yeah, and so where some people are excited because they've got plans out of town maybe, it's just the opposite for you and your team.
Right. So some people look at it as, well, okay, well, this storm's going to hit, you know, in 2 days or 3 days, whenever it is. They're like, well, okay, well, Saturday I'll go ahead and start picking up. Whereas our guys are now having to start taking care of their family and homes now. Today. Because when everyone else is going to start picking up, that's when they're probably going to be coming in to start working.
Right. So it goes from their personal commitments to the community commitment.
So a lot of times your neighbors will look at you, you picking everything up in your yard, and they're like, man, you're doing that kind of early. But they don't see you again after.
Right.
So a lot of times we're picking up stuff, and hopefully, you know, it's for nothing, but you know, just go put it right back out. Exactly.
So let's talk a little bit about what HPD's responsibilities are right before and during a storm.
So during the storm, we're going to respond as long as it's we can safely do so. And if it's something that can wait until after the weather passes, we'll respond at that point. And a lot of times it becomes a judgment call, because we don't want to put anybody in danger and knowingly get someone hurt, you know, if we don't think it's safe. But we monitor traffic, we monitor flooded streets, down power lines, trees in the road. If someone gets trapped in a house, we're gonna do everything we can to help them. Medical calls. We still have our day-to-day operations that we must perform. We just must perform it in a safer manner.
Right.
You know,
in the midst of a hurricane.
In the middle of a hurricane. So we still do our job. We just have to go about things a little different, and we increase the manpower, so your response isn't as far a lot of times.
Gotcha.
And then at the same time we monitor pump stations to make sure that nobody's vandalizing those.
And that they're working.
All the way down to making sure our guys have hot meals, where we cook for sometimes all the parish employees. And we do everything we can to make sure that everyone has everything they need to safely perform their job and keep functioning.
And you know, we talked about it quite a bit about what you do and how y'all relate with other law enforcement, with Terrebonne Parish Sheriff's Office, with state troopers. Y'all are all doing the same thing in different jurisdictions.
That's right. That's right.
You know, and so Terrebonne Parish is looking after all of those parish roads and streets and making sure that those are okay, and down power lines and making sure that people are safe, handling traffic. You know, state police is doing that for the state highways, and y'all are doing that for all of the city of Houma.
That's correct. Yeah. And you know, we just like to encourage the citizens to pick a reputable news outlet and pay attention, whatever their choice is, for information.
HTV.
If
they can.
If they can, or
Right.
whatever you decide.
Right. But get good.
Get good information.
Right.
Don't base your information off of what's being said on social media. If it's going to be from social media, pay attention to your law enforcement agencies, your news outlets, not what your neighbor next door said someone told them.
Yeah. So just and make sure that you're getting good critical information and qualify that. You can get it from our, like you said, talking to and finding out from Department of Homeland, finding out from yourselves, from Chevron Parish Sheriff's Office, from with Troop C. Just find out that credible information and make good decisions about that, especially if evacuation is necessary. So maybe let's wrap up with that.
Yep. And the biggest thing is don't panic. Just if you got questions, call your law enforcement agencies and plan ahead.
Yeah. So the best thing people can do is just make these preparations early.
They should probably right now they should be planning and making and thinking about what preparations they need to do, and pay attention to the media outlets and just be prepared and just don't panic.
The reputable ones. And if you're in a flood zone, know what flood zone you're in and be aware of when those necessary evacuations may take place.
That's right.
Travis, thank you so very much for coming on. Congratulations again for the win today, and hopefully we keep everybody safe and nobody has to lose their life over this weekend with the storm coming.
Yep.
All right, we appreciate your time. Again, Lieutenant Travis Theriot with the Houma Police Department. Very glad for them joining us. We appreciate it. Don't go anywhere. We got a whole lot more local programming when we continue.